we're gonna make some open-faced sandwiches, Italian bruschetta, and we're gonna use some local batch ciabatta bread that we got from Batch Bakehouse on Williamson Street here in Madison. And I'm gonna top them with a whole bunch of different things. Some goat cheese, some whipped ricotta, I'll show you how we do that. The traditional tomatoes and basil, we'll have some grilled asparagus, some great Spanish anchovies, and then some braised greens with goat cheese. So for my toasts, my bruschettas, I'm gonna grill them on my grill out in the backyard with a little olive oil. I'm gonna rub them with fresh cut garlic cloves, a real traditional Italian garlic bread. But I'm gonna start by prepping up all the toppings that I'd like to put on top of them. And the one that's gonna take the longest is gonna be some braised kale. And I'm gonna do that with a little bit of sliced onion and garlic. We're gonna put some ham in there and a little bit of Tuscan red wine vinegar with some olive oil. So I'll get my onions prepped up, smash up a clove of garlic just a little bit. And for this one, I think I'm gonna slice the garlic real thin rather than completely mince it. A few slices of smoked ham. And this is a really good way to use up things you have in your quarantine kitchen, in your freezer, in your pantry. So I'm gonna have some nice chunks of smoked ham that we had left over. And I'm gonna crisp these up with the sliced garlic and onion, and then I'll show you how we braise it up with some kale. Let's start with a hot Dutch oven. Add a generous amount of olive oil, and I'm gonna put my ham in there. We're gonna crisp this just a little bit. The ham's beginning to crisp a little bit. We're gonna add one sliced onion to that. And then we're gonna cook this down a bit. I'm gonna add that thinly sliced garlic in here. Stir that just till it perfumes my pot. Releases its aroma. Only about 10 seconds. Remember, garlic becomes bitter if it's burnt. A tablespoon of our Italian bomba calabrese, the fermented chili paste from southern Italy. Give that a stir in, it'll turn everything a nice red color. Generous amount of kale. This will all cook down. So we'll stir this in. Nice and spicy. And then to help it cook down a little bit, I'll add a little splash of white wine. I have dry vermouth here. And that'll just help everything cook down, nothing burned in the bottom of our pot. While my kale cooks down, it's gonna take about 30 minutes, I'm going to whip some ricotta cheese. I use full-fat, whole milk ricotta, and I just do it in a food processor, and I'll show you how that's done. My ricotta is whipped for about 1 minute. It's ready to go. To top the toast we're gonna make, I have a plastic pastry bag, a piping bag. So I'm gonna use the empty ricotta container to hold it upright while I fill it up here. And then we'll just snip the end and I'll show you how great this looks on the bread. I'm gonna go ahead and marinate some little petite tomatoes that I picked up at my local grocery store. Just gonna cut these up into wedges. We're gonna marinate these with a nice extra virgin olive oil, a little salt and pepper, and then we'll be finishing them with some basil and a little nice balsamic, very traditional. We're gonna serve it over some goat cheese with our grilled bread. So to this bowl, I have my tomato wedges. I'm gonna give it a really liberal dose of nice extra virgin olive oil. And then they need a good pinch of kosher salt. A little bit of black pepper. Give them a toss. And we'll just let those marinate for a little bit. My kale's been braising for about 30 minutes. I'm gonna finish it with a splash of a nice barrel-aged red wine vinegar from Tuscany. We'll stir that in. Again, that vinegar helping to cut the richness of the ham. And we're gonna let this sit off the heat until we're ready to top our toast. To get ready for the grill, I'm gonna slice up this focaccia bread. I wanna have thick slices, about a ½ inch thick. We're gonna coat these with olive oil, and then we're gonna grill them over a live fire. So as I get everything in its place here, I'm gonna tear up some basil. That's gonna go with my tomatoes. So what I'm gonna make today is 4 different kinds of bruschetta. We're gonna have goat cheese with our marinated tomatoes, this freshly torn basil, and I tear this because if you take a knife to it, it tends to turn black. So hand torn is always better. We're gonna also be doing some whipped ricotta with grilled asparagus. We're gonna do goat cheese with our braised kale, and then the 4th one is whipped ricotta with the Spanish anchovies. So what I'm doing today is all about timing. So I've got everything prepped that can be prepped ahead, my mise en place. Everything is in its place. And then I'm gonna go to the grill and do my final cooking. I'm gonna put a little bit of olive oil onto this asparagus. And then for a proper bruschetta, Italian style, I'm gonna do some extra virgin olive oil right over the bread on both sides, a decent amount. And then we're gonna grill these. And then when they come in, while they're still warm, we'll rub each piece of bread with a little fresh garlic clove. So I've got my toast, my bruschetta, all grilled up, drenched in olive oil, a little bit of a char on it, little blackening's okay, and then we're gonna take it while it's still warm and rub these fresh cut garlic cloves right over the bread. Leaves a little bit of garlic behind, get it all on those crusty edges. We have a few cloves ready to go. And this is really the origin of garlic bread. I learned this in Tuscany where they served grilled bread and they just gave you a bowl of garlic cloves and you were to rub your own garlic on there. So each one of these is rubbed down with a little bit of garlic, and I'm going to show you how we go ahead and top these. So I'm going to top 4 of these with a little bit of goat cheese. We'll let that sink into the, kind of melt just a little bit, soften on top of the warm bread before we finish them. And then I'll show you how we pipe our whipped ricotta onto the other 4. So I have my whipped ricotta. Now all I have to do is snip the tip off of my pastry bag, and then I can really make these beautiful toasts. And they're just ready for me to top them with the final ingredients. So I'll top my goat cheese bruschetta. I'm going to top those with the tomatoes that I marinated with a little salt, pepper, and olive oil. I'm going to put a little bit of fresh basil in there, and then just a little bit of really nice balsamic vinegar, just to bring out the flavor there. Very traditional way to serve a toast or a bruschetta. So I'm going to put these on here, kind of layer them in there. Plenty of basil and tomato for everyone. And these can be arranged a little bit ahead of time if you're serving a group. These are great for parties, and you can pretty much use whatever's in your refrigerator. I mean, this would traditionally have mozzarella on it. We didn't have mozzarella, we had goat cheese, so that came out beautifully. And then I want some of those juices that have the tomato juice, the olive oil, and the balsamic vinegar. As that sinks into the bread, that's just a delicious bite right there. So my final 2 bruschetta with the goat cheese on the warm toast. We're gonna get topped with this braised kale that we made with a little bit of smoked ham. You could use some chunks of salami, prosciutto, anything that you have in your fridge. Obviously everyone has prosciutto in their fridge. But this has the garlic, a little bit of onion, that Tuscan vinegar to kind of cut the richness of the whole toast. My whipped ricotta toast, I'm gonna use some of these grilled asparagus spears that we have. I might cut these down just a little bit on a little bit of a bias. Take some of these spears, we'll lay them right up on top of there. Give me one more right there. And I'm gonna put a little squeeze of fresh lemon right over the top. And then obviously, as I do with almost anything, take that lemon seed off. We're gonna finish with a little olive oil. The final toast we have is the whipped ricotta and anchovy. This one might not be for everyone, but trust me, these brown Spanish anchovies from the Cantabrian Sea are just really dynamite. We had these served to us in Italy, in southern Italy, in Puglia. Just really dynamite. I'm gonna put a little bit of olive oil over the top. And then to finish it, just a little bit of dried oregano. Here's my platters of bruschetta, just open-faced toasts. You can make these out of anything you have at hand at home, but it's really delicious. If you have your grill going at all, grill that bread up and then a little bit of olive oil and fresh rubbed garlic clove over the toast. It's so delicious. So thanks for cooking along with me, and this is some real Lombardinos. I hope you dig it.